Hi there to everyone watching and welcome back to my channel, and as you can see this video I'm going to be reacting to the results from the second semi-final of MGP, the Norwegian national selection for Eurovision, which happened last weekend. I'm going to be reacting to the performances from the three qualifiers and also giving my opinions on the three non-qualifiers. Now, if you want to jump ahead to certain points in the video, there will be timestamps down below. Before we get into the video though, I'd like to say, if you do enjoy this video, please consider clicking the like button because it helps a lot with algorithms and all of that. If you want to be informed when more videos like this are released, please feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That really does help a lot as well. Please do feel free to follow me on Instagram, where I upload loads of Eurovision related stuff. The details are on screen in the description box below and at the beginning and end of all the videos. And yeah, please do comment down below your thoughts on the results from semi-final 2. And yes, without further ado, let's begin. So we're going to go through the three qualifiers in the order that they performed in. So we're going to start off with Super Rob, Erika, Norwich with My AI. And you're just going to check out the performance. As I said, well, not as I said, I haven't said it yet, but I did watch the performances all at the weekend. So I have seen them all already. And I do have quite a few opinions on many of them. So My AI, when I listened to it in studio version, it was one of the three songs that I had a qualifier, and the performance was quite as I expected it to be in many ways. And I do like the visual like words and everything that's on screen. It does fit in very well with the AI idea of the song. And you know, it does have a very fun aspect. I think my issue is that I did find the performance, I think the song is something that's kind of very on the line between novelty or too cheesy, and I feel for me the live performance maybe pushed it that little bit too far, and in the end it did just come across as a bit too cheesy and a bit too novelty-ish. And yeah, as an old package, it didn't really work for me in a way that, say, Subwoofer from 2 years ago were able to get away with. And I did see, well, when I was watching the performance, there was for me a very clear issue with the vocals. They were particularly noticeable quite a lot in that they weren't particularly great, and it's not a song that really demands a strong or demanding vocal. And for that reason, you know, as I said, together with the overly cheesiness of the performance, this did drop for me from one of the songs that I had in qualifier based on audio version into one which I probably wouldn't have wanted to see. Well, I didn't have it as one of my top 3 at the end of the evening. I do know that there was quite a lot of hatred and stuff thrown her way on like social media and stuff, which of course is never good for that to be done directly to an artist or an individual, you know, and that's a very sad aspect, I think, of the Eurovision fandom and just social media in general, I guess, that's allowed to happen or able to happen. But yeah, I would be lying if I said that for me, whilst I did enjoy this in studio version, the live performance for this wasn't good enough, and there was definitely other songs which I think deserve to qualify over this. But I'm hopeful that for the final, maybe things can be cleaned up and improved upon to make a better performance for the final. So number 2 of the 2 qualifiers, we've got Dag Erik Oksvold and Anne Fagermo with Judge Tenderly of Me, the country ballad. And when I listened to all these songs in studio version, this was my number 4, I think it was. It was just outside my top 3. But it was one that I didn't have an appreciation for, and it was one that was growing on me. And I always felt that if staged and performed well, it could very well be a qualifier, which is indeed what happened. And what I think was very well deserved as well, if I am being honest. And I really do like the start here, the very sort of soft intimacy start. You know, it all fits in very well with the mood of the song. And of course, I have seen a lot of other people mention this as well, but the staging does give off very strong vibes of the Common Linnets and Calm After the Storm from 2014, which of course was very successful for them. And they have kind of, I will be honest, they have kind of copied it a lot with, you know, this sort of one camera going around them in a circle. But it's proven successful staging, not a staging gimmick, but sort of staging template. And it worked very well for them here. And I really do like the way that their vocals blend together with each other live. So yeah, all in all, this was a very strong, enjoyable package. And I do have to be honest, up till now, with the 6 songs that have qualified for the final, and with what I know is to come in semi-3, I do feel as though this is the one that is my favourite of what is left. Now, 2 songs in this heat were my 2 overall favourites, and I'm very sad that they have been eliminated. I'll get to those at the end of the video. But yeah, I do have to be honest, this is probably my favourite of what's remaining, of the songs remaining, which is probably not going to be an opinion held by that many people. But yeah, just think about it that I really do enjoy a lot. Okay, so the last of the 3 qualifiers was, I think you're pronouncing it Gåte, maybe not, with Ulveham. Who knows if I'm pronouncing those correct, but yeah, this is the one that has now come out. It was already very hotly tipped prior to the semi-final, but after my AI's less than strong performance and people being lukewarm on the Kaino song that's still to come, this is the one that's leapt out to be the big favourite now to win MGP. And I will be honest, when I heard the song in its studio version, I didn't really get what the big hype about it was. I didn't really understand why people were going so crazy about it. So for me, it was just, it all came across as quite messy and didn't really work as a coherent package for me. I had serious doubts if it was selected. I was thinking it could do a France 2022 or Spain 2023, where it's perhaps just a little bit too ethnic for the general public to get. But I do have to be honest, after seeing the live performance, seeing the staging, I think the staging was very cleverly done. And I think she did give a good live performance. I know some people have said that some of her vocals were off, and that possibly is true. But it is quite a vocally demanding song, so, you know, I can forgive some of those moments. You know, I have saw people talking about this being a Eurovision winner. I'm not sure if I can see that, but I definitely see that there's potential for this to do strongly if it is staged strongly. I think there's also still a possibility that it could flop if, you know, the staging isn't brought together well, if vocally she isn't quite on it. You know, there are still areas where this could go wrong, but I think it could potentially be a good risk for Norway to take, because based on some of the other songs that are in the final and what we got left in semi-3, I don't think it's a particularly strong year of MGP personally. I think there's just slightly too much kind of bland, middle of the road stuff there. This would definitely be one that would stand out, be it for good reasons or not so good reasons. But yeah. So yeah, that is just my overall impression of it. As I said, going into the live shows, it wasn't one of my favourites. I still wouldn't put it as one of my favourites. It's probably fourth on my list of songs that are in the semi-final. But I can see why people are getting behind it so much. And I can see that there is potential for it to do well at Eurovision if it was selected. Okay, so those were my thoughts on the 3 songs that qualified for the final. However, I do have to be honest, I was pretty disappointed with the results in this semi. Now, going into this, the semi did have my 2 favourites of the whole contest. And I knew that at most I was only going to get one through, and I also knew there was a risk that I was going to lose both of them, and that is indeed what happened. And I am quite annoyed about that, because I feel that semi-1 and semi-3 as a whole are not really as strong as semi-2. And my 2 favourites from semi-2 were Farida and Mileo's song, and I do feel that if they were in semi-1 or semi-3, they probably would have both qualified relatively easily, maybe not so much in semi-1, but definitely in semi-3, I would say. So that does annoy me a little bit, and I am going to go into talking about all 3 of the non-qualifiers now. So Farida was my favourite of the whole selection. I was a big fan of Dangerous from 2 years ago. So it was very good and exciting to see her come back again with something quite so different as well. I did have worries about whether she would be able to pull it off live, and the live performance wasn't as strong as I would have liked. I definitely feel quite like the big ballads like Dangerous is probably more in her forte, but it was quite cool to see her doing something different. I wasn't too keen on the staging. I really didn't like the big red puffer jacket coat that she had on at the beginning. I just thought that looked very silly and ridiculous, and it kind of took away from the song a little bit, because it's like, why are you wearing that big massive red jacket? You know, it made no sense why she was even wearing it. So I didn't like that at all. And at times I feel like the backing track was turned up too much, so you couldn't always hear vocals. But at the end she did the nice big long note, which I really did like. And even though the live performance wasn't the strongest as it could be, I still think it should have been one of the qualifiers for my personal liking. But it wasn't to be, and I wasn't massively surprised. For me, the big robbery of this semi-final was losing Milo's song, You're Mine, which, going into it, was my number 2 favourite behind Farida, and indeed my number 2 favourite of the whole selection. But it is possible that that now has overtaken Farida to be my favourite from all the songs that are in MGP this year. of course, it's not going to be progressing any further, which I think is a real shame, because I think it was a great song, catchy song with a very strong stage performance and a very well thought out staging and everything. I didn't know going into it, although having heard the song, I did think, the lyrics are a little bit interesting, but I didn't know there was such controversy going on in Norway, and I think it's a shame that has sort of overshadowed the song itself and the performance, and if indeed people haven't voted for it for that reason, I think that's a real shame. I also didn't realise that he isn't fully Norwegian. He was 50% Australian, 50% Norwegian, and he did all his interviews in English, which makes me think that obviously I did think he did grow up in Norway, but obviously he isn't proficient in the Norwegian language. And I did think maybe that's also a reason why people maybe didn't vote for him. I think it's a real shame though. I think it should have been in the final, and I think the final will be less well off. The final would be a lesser show without it there. So really disappointed it didn't make it. And then Ellie Kristin with Touch of Venus, I will be honest, I wasn't that much of a fan of it going into the live shows, but she really did sell it so impressively. Her operatic vocals really shone through, and being able to sort of see, and I think like the styling was great, and it was a very professionally well done performance. For me, it was probably still not one that I would have personally put through to the final. But as I did say, I think if it did get through, I wouldn't have been too disappointed about it, because she did really deliver a really strong performance. So yeah, for me, the three songs that I would have liked to have seen gone through would have been Farida, Mileo, and then Judge Tenderly of Me as well. I think those for me were the three that appealed to me the most. But obviously I appreciate that Gåte's song is one everyone's talking about, and I can see why it did qualify, because it is a very well constructed song with good staging. So, I'm not pleased, but I accept that was always going through, and I can see why now. For me, my AI was the big disappointment. It's one I liked in studio version, but live didn't really do it enough, wasn't really strong enough, and I kind of feel a little bit, I feel like it probably has taken the spot away from Heartache or Your Mind, who probably deserved it more. But I'm hoping that for the live final, that they can give a stronger performance compared to what they gave in the semi-final at the weekend. And yeah, Touch of Venus, it was never probably going to be a qualifier, but I can appreciate the good, strong live performance by Ellie. So, all in all, and I will have to say as well, I did enjoy Semi 2 a lot more than Semi 1. The whole show seemed to flow a lot better. Everyone seemed a lot more comfortable in their roles. It just seemed a better produced and packaged show in general compared to Semi 1, where everything kind of felt a little bit like it was a bit under-rehearsed somewhat, if that makes sense. But yeah, those are just my opinions on Semi 2. I'm very much looking forward to Semi 3, although I feel that the standard there is just kind of a average standard. I feel that there's not really a lot there really standing out, even Kaino's song, but I'm keen to see who stands out after live performances. So those are just my thoughts, so please do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below who your favourites from Semi 2 were. Please do let me know all of that. If you did enjoy this video, please click the like button. If you want to, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and follow me on Instagram if you'd like to as well. And yeah, thank you very much for watching once again. Do take care, and until the next video, goodbye.